All right, so this is the human algorithm we came up with. So these are all the rates that we have. We're going to ask them 2 questions, tube type, number of feet, and then we're going to say, well, if it's plastic, we're going to assign the plastic rate to rate, and then all the way down. And then we're going to output these 3 things after doing that math. All right, so let's go ahead and flowchart this, and you can see I've got the flowchart already done. So this is how we do it. If it's plastic, we do this. Else if, else if, else if, else if, and at the end we have this message that says you typed whatever the tube type is. So if they typed in plastic and they did a capital P, or they put 2 C's on it, or whatever they did wrong, it's going to say you typed that. Only type in, and then they'll be able to compare what they're typing of plastic to this plastic over here. We want to do a little bit more than that, because what we want to do is we also want to add an error flag that says, oh, an error has gone wrong, so we need to go ahead and fix it. And then when we get to the other side here, you can see that we have all this. So what we don't want to have happen is when I hit the play button, and I type in cat. I want to process that order. It's going to ask me how many feet, so I can say 10 feet. And then it's going to tell me I typed in that. And then it's going to give me all this other stuff. So that works. But then that's 0. And that's because it didn't process the order. So that's what error checking and error trapping does. An error, we check for an error occurred. Then we're going to trap it. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a decision here that checks to see if what the, oops. Okay, what happened there? Page, what the heck is all this doing here? All right, so it shouldn't be there either. All right, so we have total order. We have these right here. So I'm going to go ahead and paste it in from the last flowchart I did. So we're going to do an if condition, and we're going to check and see if the error flag equals 0. If it equals 0, then no error has occurred. So I'm going to do all these things here. If error has not occurred, we do that. We just process it normal. If it does, then what we're going to do is we're going to copy this and we're going to paste it here. Okay, so now let's see how it runs. Okay, I say cat, which doesn't match anything. It asks me how many feet. That's irritating. And then I said I typed cat, and I should have typed that. So I said, oh, I made a mistake. And then it tells me again. So the another thing is, well, this is irritating. Why am I asking them number of feet if an error has occurred? So really, this should be down here. Let me see if I can drag it down. Okay. Get it there on 2 steps. Okay, this number of feet actually should be here. That won't happen every time. So if we needed number of feet up in this decision area because we're doing some math, then we couldn't move it down. But since we're not using number of feet until this math right here, there's no point in keeping it all the way up here and irritating the user when they make a mistake, having them type in 2 things rather than 1 thing. So he types in cat, that's incorrect. So now it's not going to ask him about the other, and then it's going to go ahead and process normally. All right, so let's go ahead and code it. So we're going to do the same thing when we code it. So here I copy and paste it in the human algorithm. And put this in a little bit. Okay. And then I added my vars, so that's the only thing I added here. You should be able to do that by now. Then we have an input, so we're going to go ahead and comment that out. And then I'm going to say I have a place of memory called tube type, and I'm going to assign to that place of memory its return from my prompt when I ask it plastic PVC. And actually, it's not right. See, I can't tell it tell them to put a capital P here, and I'm using a small p here. So let's see. It looks like aluminum's not even in there. What the heck? Okay. So it's asking for aluminum here and stainless steel here. So let's go ahead and swap them out. Obviously, that's not correct. There we go. So now they all match. PVC is all uppercase. All right, and then I have this down here. I have another input, and that's the number of feet. Again, we're going to move that, but not going to move it right now. So I'm going to copy drag this down. And in quotes, I'm going to say, how many feet? Question mark. And then I'm going to give a default value of 10 feet. Why not? That's an easy one to test. All right, so then when we do this bottom part here, again, we're going to use the switch. And we're going to switch on tube type. So I'm going to say switch tube type, which means that we're going to compare everything to what's in tube type. And then we're going to, next line, we're going to start a brace. Start switch. And then this is going to be case, plastic, colon. And before I get ahead of myself too much, I want to come down here and close my switch. So my switch stops right after gold. So I'm going to put a close brace and then end switch, because that tends to be where you forget. All right, so semicolon, and then break. All right, so we're going to do this every time at the end. So let's go ahead and copy that. And oops, it's not right. That was the wrong one. Okay, so we got all our breaks in. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is we have to replace all of this with case, and then this with case, and then this with case. Should be copy pasting probably, but I think I can type case without making an error. And I did make an error there. All right, and then each one of these has to end in a semicolon. Not a semicolon, a colon. So colon at the end of each case. Semicolon at the end of each action line. Okay, good. So we have one more case to go, and that is default. Okay, and default, we're going to do two things. One is we're going to have an alert, and that alert is going to be the error message, and we're going to have error flag equals 1, showing that an error has occurred. Okay, I can go back into my flowchart and get my error message. Right, listen to me. I've already tested it, it works, so I might as well go ahead and use it rather than retyping. All right, and then error flag equals 1. Now, this error flag equals 1 has a problem, and that is I have to start it out at 0 or it'll be null otherwise. So I need to go up here. I'm going to do var, well, var. and var error flag, but I'm going to start it out with a 0. So no error has occurred, and then we'll change it to error if it happens down here. All right. Okay, then we do this. So after the switch is where we're going to go ahead then and say if error flag equals 1, then we will do this. So I have to put parentheses around that. And then we'll say else we will do this. And for this one, we'll use a document write. And then in there, we will paste in that, oops, not that, our error message. Let me go back to the flowchart, probably easier doing it that way. And we're about running out of time. I hate to make these videos too long. Let's go back. I'm not going to be able to finish this, but in the document write, we're going to have the same error message that we used before. So it'll be output, and then in here, we're just going to do this, and then these are all going to be document writes. But like I said, I don't have enough time to go ahead and do all these outputs. It's going to take me another few minutes. It's already almost 12 minutes. But I wanted to show you how to be able to use the switch technology. It means a lot less braces, and we also put in our error checking and our error trapping. Okay.